Left off last time discussing how we said that hatred leads to all the serious sins, and leads to slander, it leads to spreading lies, it leads to has v'shalom, all the horrible things, murder, and therefore a person has to make sure to avoid having hatred for another Jew. So we were also discussing last time the Yechitzkel Levenstein, alav shalom, Zechat Tzadik Lebracha, who explains that the Torah tells us Parshat Bechokotai, Im lo tishme'u li. If you do not listen to me, the Torah says, and Rashi says, what does that mean? The Torah is talking about the tochacha, the rebuke. For this, the people are not keeping mitzvot. So the Torah describes how is the process of a person not keeping mitzvot. First, it says, lo tishme'u li. If you start not listening to me, what does that mean? Rashi says, you're not toiling in Torah. The beginning of a person doing sins is because A, he's not learning Torah, and B, he doesn't have a rabbi. He doesn't have a source of Torah pumping into him spirituality. That's the beginning of the downfall, the snowball of doing sins. Then says the Torah, you do not perform all these commandments, meaning that Rashi says you did not learn. You didn't learn, you didn't do the mitzvot, so therefore you start by not learning. Then you start not doing mitzvot. What's the next level of falling off the path? And then you will be considered my decrees loathsome. Then how does he start talking about mitzvot? Hey, these mitzvot, oh, Rabbi, I don't need the bracha. Yeah, it's going to be, I don't need this bracha. You do the mitzvah. I don't need the mitzvah. This mitzvah is, not Shanaitza, Rabbi, leave me alone with this mitzvot. I don't need this mitzvot. These halachot don't make sense. These rabbis, they made it up. We got 10 commandments in the Torah. That's it. So a person, when he starts by not learning, the next thing ends up happening is he doesn't do the mitzvah, doesn't come to shul, doesn't keep Shabbat, doesn't keep kosher. Then eventually what happens after that, he starts loathing the mitzvah, he starts hating the mitzvah, disparaging them, putting them down. And then what happens, says Rashi, this means that you will hate also people who fulfill the Torah's commandments. You will end up hating those who represent the Torah. You will hate the rabbis, you will hate religious people, you'll have something against them. You know, they'll tell you nasty comments out of nowhere, uncalled for. You know, and then they'll say not nice things to you. So therefore, you see that's a chain reaction. If you don't learn, you don't do mitzvot, you end up denying the mitzvot of Hashem. You end up disparaging the rabbis. You end up denying God Baruch Hu Himself. So you see that it's a process. Of Yechitzkel Levenstein says that first you're not good yourself, you're not healthy yourself spiritually, and then eventually you spill over to other people. So therefore, a person with regards to hatred. A lot of times people, they hate other people. It's not because they hate and have anything against other people. It's because they are not happy with themselves. And they are not sane and healthy spiritually and emotionally themselves. And therefore they throw their garbage onto others. They start hating, why is he healthy? And why is he successful? It's not fair. I'm not happy with myself. I can't see other people happy. And he starts putting down the other guy. He starts hating on the other guy. He starts being jealous of the other guy. So therefore, a person has to first make sure that he himself is happy with himself. He himself is doing the service of Hashem himself. And then he will automatically have a better attitude towards others. As Rav Yechitzkel Levenstein says, the first step of our service of Hashem is to be happy with our situation, to accept what HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us is the best for us. And if you are happy with yourself, everything else turns around. And it says, V'ahavta lecha kamocha, which is very deep what he's saying, that you love your neighbor like yourself. You first have to love yourself, and then you can love your neighbor like you love yourself. How can you love your neighbor like you love yourself if you don't love yourself? So therefore, the first thing is, love your neighbor like you love yourself. You have to love yourself first. And we know that what happened with Cain and Hevel, the first murder. How did that happen? He says, Cain, Hashem asked Cain, why are you annoyed? Why are you sad? And Cain was jealous of Hevel because Hevel's korban was accepted and his was not. He was jealous, and therefore he felt that Cain was better than him. Right? So therefore, what happens? It teaches a lesson that if we're not happy with ourselves, it'll lead to murder just like Cain and Hevel. Cain was killed by Hevel because Hevel was upset with himself, and therefore that spilled over into killing Cain. So therefore, we have to be happy with ourselves. Always, we have to wish for more. We have to try to grow, but we have to celebrate what we have already. And once we do that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be easier for us to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to be good to other people. Also, a person has to make sure not to be jealous, and he has to be happy that other people serve Hashem. Also, there's Chaim Friedlander writes that the Rabbi Eliyahu Dessler told the Rosh Yeshiva who went to visit a different yeshiva. he said, look how the Talmidim are learning. Look, they're staying up very late. They're growing. The visiting Rosh Hashiva said to the Rosh Hashiva, would you be as happy of your students right now if they would be learning like this in a different yeshiva? Or are you only happy because they're learning in your yeshiva? That's the question. Are you really happy for them? So therefore, it's possible that someone will be excited for somebody else because he gets something from it. What is in it for me? But a person has to know that we cannot let our ego get involved with mitzvot. You cannot be, my shul versus your shul, my shiur versus your shiur. People go to me, people go to you. My place is more popular than yours. Rather, a person has to really be happy for another person in regards to mitzvot and say, like the Gemara says, the rabbi who had a translator, the translator started saying his own divrei Torah. He's not even translating. He's not even saying out loud the words of the rabbi anymore, because they used to have rabbis with very low voices, and the meturgaman would project it. And they told him, you're a projector, you're a rabbi who's saying the words loud, and not even saying what you're saying. He says, doesn't matter. If they're as long as they're learning, what does it make a difference for me? If for him, as long as they're learning, we should have the same attitude, B'ezrat Hashem, with others. Baruch Adonai.